For many years, John Lennon's personal life remained shrouded in mystery, but his wife has recently opened up about the chaos and troubling events that shaped their lives together. These revelations shed light on how deeply these experiences affected Lennon's behavior and the choices he made throughout his life. The pressures of fame, coupled with personal struggles, created a turbulent environment for both John and his family. His outspoken nature, particularly his strong stance against war, often put him at odds with the public and authorities. The emotional weight of his experiences is evident in his work, especially in songs like Imagine, which continue to resonate with audiences today. To truly understand the complexities of John Lennon's life, it is essential to explore the intimate details shared by his wife, which reveal the challenges they faced, and the impact those challenges had on his legacy. The layers of their relationship, and the struggles they endured paint a more nuanced picture of the man behind the music. On December 8, 1980, John Lennon was tragically murdered outside his New York City home. The assailant, Mark David Chapman, had approached Lennon earlier that day and obtained his autograph on a copy of Lennon's new album, Double Fantasy. This seemingly innocent encounter would turn into a horrific event just hours later. That same day, a significant photo shoot took place, captured by renowned photographer Annie Leibovitz for Rolling Stone magazine. In this iconic session, Lennon posed nude, curled protectively around his clothed wife, Yoko Ono. The image was meant to convey intimacy and vulnerability, but it became hauntingly symbolic after the events that unfolded later that evening. Lennon was returning home when Chapman shot him multiple times. The shocking news of his death sent waves of grief throughout the world, marking the end of an era for music and culture. Lennon's contributions to music, peace activism, and his visionary ideas continue to resonate, but that fateful night forever altered the landscape of rock history. After the tragic event, Chapman remained at the scene, holding the gun and Lennon's autographed album. He made no attempt to flee or resist arrest, showing a disturbing calmness in the aftermath of the shooting. Emergency medical staff rushed to the scene and worked desperately to save Lennon, who had been shot multiple times. Despite their efforts, Lennon succumbed to his injuries. He was pronounced dead at the age of 40, leaving behind a legacy that would continue to influence music and culture for generations. The news of his death shocked fans worldwide, and the impact of his loss was felt deeply across the globe. Lennon's contributions to music, particularly through his work with the Beatles and his solo career, had made him an iconic figure. The circumstances surrounding his death raised questions about gun violence and mental health, sparking conversations that continue to this day. The world mourned the loss of a visionary artist whose life was tragically cut short. News of Lennon's death spread instantly, shocking and devastating fans all around the world. The impact was particularly felt by his former Beatles bandmates, who had shared a deep bond and musical journey with him. The loss of such an iconic figure left a void in the music world that was hard to fill. Many fans mourned, holding vigils, and remembering the man who had changed the landscape of music and culture. Amid this sorrow, Mark David Chapman emerged as the man responsible for this tragedy. Obsessed with the book The Catcher in the Rye, Chapman believed that by killing Lennon, he would find peace, and perhaps even fame. He saw Lennon as a symbol of everything he despised, and thought that taking his life would somehow elevate his own. This twisted motivation led to a moment that shocked the world, and left a lasting legacy of grief and reflection on the fragility of life and the consequences of obsession. The world continues to remember John Lennon not just for his music, but for the profound impact of his untimely death. Despite his tragic end, Lennon's music and messages of peace and love continue to inspire people worldwide. His songs resonate with themes of unity and hope, encouraging listeners to envision a better world. However, this idealism often stood in contrast to his personal life, particularly in his relationships with family. Lennon's first son, Julian, has openly discussed the complexities of their relationship. He described his father as a hypocrite, feeling that Lennon preached peace and love to the world while neglecting his own family. Julian's feelings reflect a deep sense of disappointment, as he struggled to reconcile the public persona of his father with the private reality. This tension highlights the challenges that can exist between a person's public ideals and their private actions. Lennon's legacy remains powerful, yet it is intertwined with the struggles of those closest to him, reminding us that even icons can have flawed personal lives. Lennon's decision to abandon his first family left deep emotional scars, particularly on his son Julian. Julian, born to Lennon and his first wife Cynthia, faced the pain of his father's absence as Lennon pursued a new life with Yoko Ono. This shift not only changed the dynamics of his family, but also created a sense of loss and betrayal for Julian, who struggled with feelings of neglect. The relationship between Lennon and Julian became strained, marked by a lack of communication and understanding. In contrast, Sean Lennon's son with Yoko Ono grew up in a different environment. While Sean had the opportunity to bond closely with his father during the later years of Lennon's life, the relationship between Julian and Sean was complicated. The tension stemming from their father's choices created an awkward brotherly bond. Both sons carried the weight of their father's legacy, yet they navigated their own paths shaped by the family dynamics that had been altered by Lennon's decisions. This complicated history has influenced their interactions and relationship over the years, leaving a lingering impact on both Julian and Sean as they reflect on their father's life and their own identities. Paul McCartney's understanding of John Lennon's song Help reveals much about the emotional depth of Lennon's life. McCartney believed that the song was more than just a catchy tune. It was a genuine cry for emotional support. This perspective highlights the personal struggles that Lennon faced throughout his life. He experienced a tumultuous childhood, marked by a significant loss and upheaval. After his parents separated, he was raised by his aunt, which created a sense of instability in his early years. The pain of losing his mother, who was tragically killed in a car accident when he was just 17, left a lasting scar on him. Additionally, he faced the early loss of his uncle, who played a pivotal role in his upbringing. These experiences shaped Lennon's worldview and influenced his music, often reflecting his inner turmoil and longing for connection. The emotional weight of his past can be felt in his work, making songs like Help resonate with listeners who sense the vulnerability behind the lyrics. The combination of his early life challenges and his artistic expression created a complex persona that continues to fascinate and inspire. Lennon's life was marked by a profound struggle between his public persona and private emotions. His fear of losing loved ones created a barrier that led to emotional isolation. This fear often manifested in his relationships, causing him to push away those closest to him, including his family. While he projected an image of optimism and joy through his music and public appearances, deep down, he wrestled with feelings of sadness and anxiety. This duality defined much of his life and career as he sought to connect with the world while simultaneously guarding his heart. The contrast between his vibrant public life and his inner turmoil illustrates the complexity of his character. He wrote songs that resonated with millions, yet these very creations often served as a shield against his vulnerabilities. Lennon's emotional isolation can be seen as a reflection of his struggles with fame, love, and loss, shaping both his artistic expression and personal relationships. Lennon's early family life was marked by significant challenges that shaped his future. His father left the family when John was just a young boy, which created a sense of abandonment that would linger throughout his life. As a result, he was raised primarily by his aunt and uncle, who provided him with a stable home, but could not fill the emotional void left by his father's absence. This upbringing instilled in him a longing for connection and understanding, which would later influence his music and relationships. When Lennon was 17, tragedy struck again with the sudden death of his mother, Julia, in a car accident. This loss was devastating for him. Julia had been a crucial figure in his life, introducing him to music and encouraging his artistic interests. Her unexpected death left him deeply scarred and marked a turning point in his emotional development. The pain of losing her would echo throughout his life, influencing his songwriting and his views on love and loss. The combination of his father's abandonment and his mother's tragic death created a complex emotional landscape for Lennon, one that he would navigate through his art. Lennon's life was deeply affected by the loss of his uncle George Smith, who served as a significant father figure during his childhood. Uncle George passed away unexpectedly in 1955, leaving a profound impact on young Lennon. This loss was devastating, as George had provided support and guidance during a time when Lennon faced challenges. The absence of a stable father figure intensified Lennon's feelings of loneliness and abandonment. In contrast, Lennon's biological father had been largely absent during his early years. After the Beatles achieved fame, Lennon's father reappeared in his life. This sudden presence created a complicated situation for Lennon. He struggled with unresolved feelings about his father's abandonment during his formative years. The relationship became strained, as Lennon grappled with mixed emotions of anger, confusion, and a longing for connection. This dynamic highlighted the complexities of family relationships and how they can shape a person's life and emotional landscape. The impact of Uncle George's death and the return of his father shaped Lennon's perspectives on love, loss, and belonging. These experiences influenced his music and personal relationships throughout his life, leaving a lasting legacy that resonated with many. Lennon's struggles with addiction had a significant impact on both his personal life and his career. His heroin use became a serious issue during the late 1960s, contributing to the tensions within the Beatles. As the band members faced increasing pressures from fame and their own personal issues, Lennon's addiction created a rift that ultimately played a role in the group's breakup. The atmosphere became strained, with disagreements and conflicts arising more frequently among the band members. In addition to his addiction, Lennon also faced serious allegations regarding his behavior in his personal relationships. He openly admitted to physically assaulting his first wife, Cynthia, which revealed a troubling history of domestic violence. This admission shed light on a darker side of Lennon's character, contrasting sharply with his public persona as a peace advocate and a cultural icon. His actions raised questions about the complexity of his character, illustrating that even someone celebrated for their artistic contributions could struggle with personal demons. The combination of addiction and domestic violence painted a complicated picture of John Lennon, showing that his life was not just defined by his music, but also by his struggles and the consequences of his actions. During the period of separation from Yoko Ono, John Lennon experienced what he later referred to as his lost weekend. This time was marked by heavy drinking and chaotic behavior. Lennon found himself in the company of friends and other artists, but the lifestyle he adopted was often reckless. He spent time with people like Harry Nilsson, and their escapades sometimes led to public incidents that drew attention and concern. This phase of his life was not just about personal turmoil, it was also a time of intense legal battles. The U.S. government, feeling threatened by Lennon's outspoken anti-war activities, sought to deport him. His activism against the Vietnam War made him a target, and he faced numerous legal challenges as he fought to stay in the country. These struggles were compounded by the emotional strain of his separation from Ono, leading to a complex mix of creativity, conflict, and confusion in his life. The Lost Weekend became a symbol of both his personal struggles and the broader cultural upheaval of the time. Lennon's experiences during this period reflect the challenges of fame, activism, and personal relationships, making it a significant chapter in his life and career. Lennon faced serious legal trouble when he was sued for plagiarism regarding the Beatles' iconic song Come Together. The lawsuit claimed that he had lifted lyrics from Chuck Berry's classic track, You Can't Catch Me. This accusation sparked significant debate among fans and critics alike about originality and influence in music. The case highlighted the thin line between inspiration and imitation in the creative process. At the same time, Lennon's political activism drew the attention of the FBI, which monitored his anti-war activities closely. The agency amassed a large dossier on him, tracking his movements and associations. This surveillance was part of a broader effort to keep tabs on individuals who were seen as threats to the status quo during a turbulent time in American history. Lennon's outspoken views on peace and his criticism of the Vietnam War made him a target for government scrutiny. The combination of legal challenges and surveillance reflected the contentious atmosphere surrounding Lennon, both as a musician and a public figure, showcasing the complexities of his life during this period. Despite facing numerous legal and personal challenges throughout his life, John Lennon remained a powerful force in music and a passionate advocate for peace. His resilience shone through as he continued to create impactful songs that resonated with people around the world. One of his most iconic songs, Imagine, paints a picture of a world free from conflict and division. The lyrics encourage listeners to dream of harmony and unity, making it a timeless anthem for peace. Lennon's ability to channel his experiences, both good and bad, into his music allowed him to connect deeply with his audience. Even during turbulent times, he used his platform to speak out against war and injustice, inspiring countless individuals to join the fight for a better world. His music not only reflects his personal journey, but also serves as a beacon of hope for those seeking change. Through his artistry, Lennon left an indelible mark on the world, reminding us all of the power of music to inspire and uplift. Lennon's life was filled with personal turmoil that often clashed with his public persona as a champion for peace. His childhood was marked by significant trauma, which played a crucial role in shaping his complex personality. Growing up in Liverpool, Lennon faced a turbulent family environment. His parents' separation when he was young left him feeling abandoned and confused. He was raised primarily by his Aunt Mimi, who provided a strict upbringing that stifled his emotional expression. This lack of a nurturing environment contributed to deep-seated feelings of insecurity and loneliness. As he grew older, these childhood experiences influenced his relationships. Lennon often struggled with intimacy and trust, which manifested in his interactions with friends, family, and romantic partners. His tumultuous marriage to Cynthia Lennon, and later to Yoko Ono, reflected his ongoing battles with vulnerability and commitment. The emotional scars from his youth led him to seek solace in music, where he could express his inner turmoil. Despite his public image as a peace advocate, the contradictions in his personal life reveal a man grappling with unresolved pain and searching for understanding in a chaotic world.